Back when the injury to Jimmy Tansey. Tansey and Perry both out of the game tonight. There's the number 9, Bismarto. Promising build-up on the right. There's Pascalo, the number 5. And one back possession well. Murray Barnes. Well, there was some indecision there with Eisendorn. In fact, it was Alan Davidson, that's the injured player. Alan Maher on the ground, the goalkeeper. He has already sustained an injury on this tour to his knee. And we just hope, for Australia's sake, that Alan Maher will be able to resume in this game. So the first quarter of the match has been awarded. Well, our apologies to Australia. I believe that we lost the first 2 minutes of this match due to a satellite problem, but the game now in its 3rd minute, and the scoreline still locked at 0-0. Australia defending the goal to our left. The injured player is Alan Maher. There's a shot of what is quite a large crowd here tonight at the Senayan Stadium here in Jakarta. Rudy Gutendorf out there with Charlie Jurisic, the team masseur, and Alan Maher to take his place back in the goals for Australia. So the corner to be taken from the right-hand side. Short corner taken. The number 12 is Effendi, a player with big raps on him here. And that's a great goal. Effendi has scored in the 4th minute. And what a great start for Indonesia. Well, as I was saying, the local press have got some tremendous raps on this young fellow, Zulham Effendi from the Paradetex club here in Jakarta, and he's put Indonesia in the lead by 1-0. Well, can Australia come back? Alan Davidson. John Eisendorn couldn't find Krencevic. The number 14 in there is Ruli Neri on the break. The number 8 is Nurian Sah. And that was Tony Henderson coming across the number 6. Well, if full capacity at this stadium here in Jakarta is 135,000, I would say we'd have somewhere in the vicinity of 30 to 35,000 here tonight. Damadi. The number 14 is Neri. And across came Ovo Pascalo. Headed on by Peter Shan. The number 6 is Subankit. And back came Shan again. So Australia toying with it at the back. Finally turned back for goalkeeper Maher. And as I mentioned earlier in our telecast, certainly a great battle is looming between that man in picture, Alan Maher, and Greg Woodhouse on this Australian tour. Shan has got tremendous pace on the right. Came around Pate Nasarani, the captain of this Indonesian side. Comes from the Wanaragung club, over 50 caps. So the long throw we can anticipate from Murray Barnes. He is an expert at this, and we'll see it floating right into that penalty area. Krencevic with the head, and taken by the goalkeeper Purwano. So the first pressure really on this Indonesian side. Purwano has been preferred to the number 1 goalkeeper Tobing from the Jayakarta club here in Jakarta. And the number 15 is Johannes. And that's the captain, Pate Nasarani. The number 6 in picture is Subankit. He also hails from the Jaki Utama club in Lampang. And that's a nice touch for the number 4, Tutu Arima. And the Australian defence tested at the moment. That's Alan Davidson trying to graft back. And a sliding tackle from Davidson. He's won possession. Krenčević on the break. Shan overlapping on the right. And that's beautifully run onto the ball by Shan. Kept it in the field of play. Shan into the penalty area. And here's Alan Davidson that has come forward from left back. And a solid challenge that time by the Indonesian defence. But offside ruled on the Australian side. That was Stephen Hogg, the number 2, that ran onto the ball. So Indonesia off to a great start through that 4th minute goal by Effendi. That's Darmadi. And finally, it's Tony Henderson knocking the ball forward. The throw to be taken by John Eisendorn, who has recovered from the problems earlier on the tour with illness. And I believe is leaving tomorrow for England to trial with Ipswich. So a great break for the very talented Australian from the Heidelberg club in Victoria. Now Ivo Pascalo. Long ball pumped forward into that penalty area. Up went Mark Jankovic. Peter Shan. In fact, that's Kenny Bowden, the number 8, showing all the skills we know he possesses. And finally, the Indonesian defence very composed. About 20 minutes before the start of the game, a very heavy shower fell. It's the second torrential downpour we've had in Jakarta today, so obviously the conditions out there reasonably slippery, although the pitch is beautifully grassed. It really is a stadium up to international standard, a magnificent stadium. In fact, it was built in 1962, or in fact it was opened in 1962 for the Asian Games. It is encircled by an all-weather synthetic track, and it seats well over 100,000 people. So it's Simpson Rumapasel to take the throw on the right-hand side for Indonesia. That's Subangkit. Very deliberate in the build-up, the Indonesian side. They know they're already leading by that 1-0. A brilliant start. Back goes Hogg. Played forward for Murray Barnes. So Barnes has pushed forward for the Australian side. Shan's made the run, but finally taken away by Ruli Neri. And this Indonesian side obviously very, very quick on the break. Alan Maher is off his line and brilliantly saved. Brilliant save by the Australian goalkeeper. He had to commit himself on that occasion. So Alan Davidson trying to inject some life into this Australian attack. Mark Jankovic, who is playing alone up front today as the lone centre forward, with the backing of Krenčević, Peter Shan and Kenny Bowden. That's Bowden, the number 8. From all reports, Kenny Bowden has really blossomed on this Australian tour and was named today by Rudy Gutendorf as one of the real consistent players so far on the tour. One of his big disappointments was the form of Tony Henderson, and Rudy mentioned to me today that he expected far bigger things from the former Australian captain. It's young Stephen Hogg. So the corner to be taken by Australia from the left-hand side. Up goes Krenčević, headed on by Jankovic, and stuck away by Henderson. The equaliser by Australia, by Tony Henderson, and what a vital goal that was for Australia. And it came from a corner from Peter Shan, and the two Marconi players, Jankovic and Krenčević, combined. And finally, it was Tony Henderson that found himself on the end of a receiving ball from Jankovic to put it away, and Australia pulled one back. 1 goal all, 12.5 minutes of play gone in this first half. And that was a good tackle by Kenny Bowden, formerly of Newcastle Cable United, now with the Sydney City side. So from the team that played against Greece in Athens. The two fullbacks, Jim Tansey and Steve Perry, are both out injured, and Gary Cole has been left out of the side for this particular match. So the injured player there was Bambang Ludiansah from the Assetto club here in Jakarta. And President Suharto's son, in fact, is the manager. Brilliant save. Bertie Kutuarima found himself on a through ball there. And again, Alan Maher really showing the crowd here why he is currently considered as the #1 goalkeeper in Australia. And straight away, a substitution being made in the Australian camp. And this is something that Rudy Gutendorf has been very prone to do during this tour. That's him in the Australian tracksuit. And very early substitution. It appears that Ivo Priscalo will be coming off. And I think John Spanos, I think it is, that will be going on. So the corner has been forced again by Indonesia. And it appears that it's going to be taken very, very quickly. This time we won't see the short corner. The long one floated in. Australia under pressure through Murray Barnes. And again, the second corner in the space of 30 seconds has been forced by Indonesia. So a very important stage of the game. Indonesia trying to kick ahead by that 1-goal advantage again. Headed over the top by Murray Barnes. And constant pressure on the Australians. And this time the corner will be taken from left-hand side. And it will be taken by the number 14, Ruli Neri. The number 3 is Dermadi. On the far post is Alan Maher. The number 2 there was Ruma Pasal. Well done by Stephen Hogg. And Australia not really being able to bring the ball under control. The run made by Shan. And the goalkeeper, Purwano, letting the ball go for the goal kick to Indonesia. Well, they were caught napping there. Peter Shan in there challenging. But the Australians had retreated in defence. Peter Shan is now getting some support up front. And the free kick to Australia for that challenge on Kenny Bowden. So Jankovic has gone to the far post. That's him, the number 13. Being closely checked by Darmadi. Bowden, left foot ball. Jankovic with the run. But it's wide of that far post. And once again, the goal kick to Indonesia. So just on 22 minutes of play gone in this first half. Cleared away by Pati Nasarani. Alan Davidson was deceived by the bounce as he was challenged that time by Neri. Came back inside the number 9, Ismanto. Nice touch by Bowden. That's Hogg. Flicked on that time for Jankovic. And that's the foul on Mark Jankovic by the number 6, Subankit. And the free kick goes to Australia. So we welcome our viewers right around Australia for this live telecast by courtesy of the O28 network. And anticipating a viewing audience in Australia tonight of some 2 million people watching this international live from Jakarta. So Australia can be thankful through the teamwork of the 3 Marconi players, in fact the 4 Marconi players, Peter Shan, Krencevic, Jankovic and Henderson, for the equalising goal in the 12th minute. It was a good one by Australia. But still they've got the job ahead of them. This Indonesian side is young and very talented and fast. And a substitution being made in the Indonesian side. So the throw taken, headed down by Barnes. And Australia under pressure again, finally cleared away by the Australian skipper. And the throw once again to Indonesia. So the Indonesian side have a match planned against Japan and also a tour to Saudi Arabia starting on December the 12th, and they'll be playing in Jeddah and also Riyadh. So they are treating their friendly matches as a warm-up to the pre-World Cup eliminations very, very seriously. It is the major sport here in Indonesia, and that's obvious by the very, very good crowd here tonight for this international clash with Australia. The man on the ground is Ruli Neri from the Warner Gun Club. And the free kick goes to Indonesia. That's a good ball. Mark punches it away under pressure. And Eddie Krenčević on the break now for Australia. Played forward for his Marconi teammate Peter Shan. And the throw will go to Indonesia, taken by Darmadi. Patanasarari. Headed forward by Henderson. The number 12 is Effendi, the man that put Indonesia in the lead after 4 minutes of the first half. Eddie Krenčević on the break, support of Jankovic on the left, but a great tackle that time. The referee has allowed play to go on, much to the delight of this Indonesian home crowd. And that's the number 11, Sonato. The number 12, Effendi. And the run made by Sonato, pulls it back and cleared away. And finally it's Peter Shan for Australia. On for Krenčević. Challenged by Patanasarari. Krenčević. There's the run made by Shan again. Tremendous pace, Peter Shan. Too much pace for the number 2. Ruma Pasal. And finally, the goalkeeper, Parwano, forced to leave the 18-yard box to clear it over this grandstand touchline. And up comes Murray Barnes. And again, we'll see the familiar long throw by the Australian captain into that penalty area, and certainly some pressure on this occasion on Indonesia. Floating ball, flicked on that time by Krenčević, but nobody on the end of the header. And finally, again, it's Neri that takes it away for Indonesia. Turn back for the number 2, Ruma Pasal, also from the Warner Gun Club here in Jakarta. Subakit. Ruma Pasal again, overlapping right-hand side. Played back for the number 12, Effendi, and the crowd seems to really lift when Effendi gets a touch for Indonesia. A very popular player here in Jakarta, and probably no more popular at any time of his career than the 4th minute when he put Indonesia into the lead. Alan Maher was completely deceived by a left footer from Effendi, but then, of course, Tony Henderson pulled one back for Australia 12 minutes into the first half, and that scoreline of 1-1 has remained intact. We're 31.5 minutes into the first half. Davidson, Murray Barnes, Eddie Krenčević tried to find Bowden, backheeled for Barnes, now that's Bowden, deceived his man beautifully, Kenny Bowden. Has the tendency to overwork the ball, Bowden, on occasions. Murray Barnes with a shot and easily saved on the far post by Parwano, Indonesia's goalkeeper. Ruma Pasal on the right-hand side. Ruli Neri, and driven forward again by Australia. So in fact, this live coverage on the Channel O 28 network is the 3rd of the international clashes that has been beamed back live to Australia by our newly found friends in soccer, the O28 network, who are really doing a superb job in covering this Australian tour. I know it's been a great inspiration to the Australian team members to know that the games have been beamed back to their fans in Australia, and I'm sure that they'd love to end this tour tonight with a win here. And if one man can play an important part in that wish by the Australians, it's the man with the ball tucked safely under that right arm, Alan Spider Maher, who has been in superb form, although he was left wanting in that 4th minute when Indonesia did hit the lead. Well, Jankovic received an elbow to the head as he went up to try and challenge for that ball. Eisendorn for Bowden. Bowden left 2 defenders in his wake on that occasion, but Murray Barnes did very little when he was on the receiving end of the pass. Tutuarima, and cut out that time by Spanos. Stephen Hogg, the 1-2 with Spanos as he comes forward for Australia. On the right is Krencevic. Spanos with the shot and skidding off the very slippery turf here in Jakarta, but really put Pawano under no real pressure. Now pressure turned on the Australians. Effendi really looks an impressive young player. Sonato knocking it square, headed away by Eisendorn. And this attack is not over yet. Flicked on. Henderson was in there. And finally, Australia marshalled their defence, but again some sloppy marking. Darmari. And finally, Australia's defence shot to ribbons on that occasion. And finally, it was left to young John Eisendorn to turn the ball back to goalkeeper Alan Maher. So there is a tremendous atmosphere here in Jakarta. I might be very wrong in my estimate. There could well be more than 35 or 40,000 people. It's a very difficult stadium to try and judge a crowd. Up goes Krencevic. There is Shan. Couldn't bring it under control as it was chested down by Mark Jankovic. And back came Sonato, pumping it forward for Indonesia, finding Sabankit. And there's Eisendorn, the number 17. Up, the free kick has been awarded to Indonesia. And we're into the final 10 minutes. In fact, about 6.5 minutes remaining to half-time. And the scoreline still locked at 1 goal. Or is this the one to break the deadlock? The shot, well saved. Well saved by Alan Maher. And again, it was Effendi that found himself on the end of the pass. Here it comes again. And just watch the amazing reflex save here by Alan Maher. Tipping it around past that far post. There's Maher up again, punching it away. Well, I mentioned earlier in the telecast that a man to watch is the number 12, Gulam Effendi, and he certainly has looked impressive tonight. That's him again with a lovely through ball for Neri, and pressure right on this Australian defence again at the moment. Turned out wide by Tutuarima, and Sonato finally gaining the corner for Indonesia. So again, constant pressure on the Australian defence, and in particular goalkeeper Alan Maher. He really has stood up to it well tonight though. But it appears that this Indonesian side appear to have too many legs for Australia at the moment. They really are very nippy indeed. Darmadi. The number 9 in there was Ismanto. He scored 2 goals for Indonesia against Hong Kong in that 4-0 win just recently. He comes from the Indonesia Muda Club. Now Murray Barnes. And is that a corner to Australia? It is. So another corner has been conceded with just 5 minutes remaining in this first half. So we're hoping these pictures and sound are coming through loud and clear to this live audience in Australia. As Peter Shan takes the corner, right-hand side, keeps it low, And it was headed away by the number 6, Sabankit. Again, knocked out on the right for Peter Shan. Hogg, offside Australia. It was the number 3, Eddie Krencevic, who really tried to get back onside. Pati Nasarani on now for the number 6, Sabankit. And Australia come away with it again through Kenny Bowden, taking it all the way as he did against Leicester.